Well, earlier I spoke to the Labour leadership contender Jeremy Corbyn, and I began by asking him whether his parliamentary colleagues should back him or Harriet Harman over the government's welfare cuts.
Well, there's a meeting of the Parliamentary Labour Party this evening, and I hope they will decide, if there's to be a decision made there, that we should be opposing what the government is doing.
So you've got no problem with somebody coming from abroad as a migrant with 5 kids, say, and claiming 5 lots of child tax credits, 5 lots of child benefits, housing benefit,
people and children
no limits on their benefits.
People and children come first. The amount of money involved is not that great when compared to the total budget as a whole. What we're doing is going in a wrong direction by impoverishing children of large families, and particularly in London, where the benefit cap has had a devastating effect on people in the private rented sector.
What rate of income tax is too high?
The rate of income tax ought to be set on the ability to pay it, and at the moment the top rate is too low. I would go 50% and possibly slightly higher, but I'm actually more interested in collecting uncollected corporation tax and corporate taxation.
Would 60% be too high?
Can I finish? The real issue is corporate tax fraud across the world.
But the bigger point is how much inequality we are prepared to live with in this country, isn't it? You know, should we accept the existence of super rich people? Or would there be no super rich people in Britain if you were Prime Minister?
Are super rich people actually happy with being super rich?
No, I'm asking you, would you end them?
I would want the super rich to be able to pay properly their share of the needs of the rest of the community.
So they wouldn't be super rich anymore, would they?
But the issue is actually that there's a crossover between income tax and high-income people over towards the corporate tax sector, and they often evade taxation by that means.
Let's briefly talk about foreign affairs. Why did you call Hamas and Hezbollah your friends?
What I did was spoke at a meeting in which I said I wanted all people involved in the Middle East issue to come together and be able to have a discussion, to be able to discuss. Can you allow me to finish? Do you mind?
Yeah, but I asked you a question and you're ignoring it.
No, I'm not ignoring the question. If you'd give me a minute, I'll answer it. The point is this. Listen for a minute, if you don't mind. I spoke at a meeting about the Middle East crisis in Parliament, and there were people there from Hezbollah, and I said I welcomed our friends from Hezbollah to have a discussion and a debate. And I said I wanted Hamas to be part of that debate. I have met Hamas in Lebanon, and I've met Hezbollah in this country in Lebanon. I've also met...
So are they your friends or not?
Can I finish?
Are they your friends or not?
Can I finish? I've also met...
Well, you can't if it's a long answer.
Look, the issue is this. You are not prepared to discuss the whole issue of the Middle East. You're not prepared to discuss the wider question. The wider question is Hamas, Hezbollah are part of a peace process. Even the former head of Mossad says that there has to be talks involving Hamas. I've also had discussions with people from the right in Israeli politics who have the same view, possibly, that the state of Israel should extend from the river to the sea, as it is claimed people from the Palestinian side do.
And I'm very happy for you to make all of that clear. But I'm saying you use these words, friends. Now, are you saying they're not your friends? Or are you saying they are your friends?
I'm saying that people I talk to, I use it in a collective way, saying our friends we're prepared to talk to. Does it mean I agree with Hamas and what it does? No. Does it mean I agree with Hezbollah and what they do? No. What it means is that I think to bring about a peace process, you have to talk to people with whom you may profoundly disagree. There is not going to be any peace process unless there is talks involving Israel, Hezbollah and Hamas. And I think everybody knows that.
But as you know, the controversy is around you calling them friends. And you've explained, I think, that when you said that, you didn't mean that they're friends.
I used it in a collective way at a discussion, and you're trying to trivialise the whole issue of the Middle East. You're trying to trivialise the whole discussion about how you bring about a long-term peace process.
I'm very happy to have long conversations with you.
Well, why don't we have them then?
And you've been on this programme talking about the Middle East many times.
Well, not
before.
very recently, actually. You haven't had me on for a long time.
But this quote about friends has surfaced, and that's what I was asking you about, and you've had your opportunity to...
Well, thanks for the tabloid journalism.
That's not tabloid journalism.
Yes, it is.
That's putting your own words back to you.
Tabloid journalism where you're evading, asking me to give an opportunity to discuss the wider issue of the Middle East. Because all you're interested in...
Actually, what I was going to ask you next was something rather more important. No,
it's tabloid journalism and you know it.
Well, it's absolutely not. I was asking you about
It's
your
tabloid
own words, and if
journalism.
you're not prepared to defend your own words, then that's fine.
I'm quite prepared to defend my own words. I've just done so.
I want to get on to a bigger aspect of foreign policy, which we could have done minutes ago had you just answered the question when I answered it, which is it noble, is it right to continue doing nothing to intervene in Syria?
I think the decision not to bomb Syria or to bomb Syria, not to bomb Syria, is an important one. If we'd started bombing now, what would it achieve? Probably not very much. It would then be followed up by ground forces, and we'd then be back into a war. I think the issue has to be choking off the arms supply and the money that goes to ISIL, recognise where ISIL have come from, and also recognising, I think there was quite a big mistake in not reconvening the Geneva conference involving Iran, which could have helped to bring about a much earlier point of ceasefire in the other part of the Syrian civil war, that is between the government of Syria, Free Syrian Army, and the Kurdish forces, as opposed to the ISIL forces, which have grown significantly in the past year. I don't think British intervention by military means is going to bring about a solution to it. I think there has to be ultimately a political solution. I think we also need to look at the role that Saudi Arabia and other countries are playing in the arms they're putting into the area.